Good afternoon, everyone. Members of our community, GVSU family, thank you so much for being here with us today. I am happy we're together and coming together around a safety briefing, a fundamental human right, important to all of us to keep everyone in our community safe. I am not happy it's on the heels of a horrific random act of violence at our sister institution at Michigan State University that brings us together. And what I'd like to ask of you, if together we could just take a moment of silence for the young lives lost. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank you all for your compassion, for your love, for your support of MSU Spartans. I am a proud Spartan as well with my PhD program at Michigan State and standing together with that community. I'm so proud of our forward-leaning crisis planning, infrastructure, and response. Thank you to Greg Sanyel, VP Sanyel, our facilities team, Chief DeHaan, and countless colleagues who have led us to this point to feel that we have a strong multi-level infrastructure, pre-planning, incident response, and post-incident response. We are in very good shape. Today, this is a briefing. We are stronger in an event should one befall us, if every person is attentive to our protocols, if every person is aware of our systems and infrastructure. So we're going to use about 30 minutes to 45 minutes today to go through a briefing, but I want to commit to you that we will increase the cadence of communication around safety so that as we go forward together as a community, there'll be multiple opportunities to learn more and to dig deeper in each of your divisions and each of our areas of responsibility. Now, let me take this opportunity to turn this over to our Chief of Police, Brandon DeHaan, and our full-time emergency manager, Sergeant Billy O'Donnell, with my deepest thanks to review the resources we have, the policies, and the protocols for our community in the event of a threat to our campus. Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you, President Mantella. I truly appreciate the opportunity to share some of the great work that the women and men here at public safety do each and every single day. Today with me is Sergeant Bill O'Donnell. He is our emergency manager for the university. He's going to be talking about physical security and technological solutions. Bill is a 25-year veteran of this department. He is a Laker for a lifetime, and quite frankly, he comes with some really interesting credentials that are rarely seen, specifically in emergency management, not only as a law enforcement officer, but as a certified fire officer. He also is a hazmat responder and an EMT. Quite frankly, that is rarely seen. And as a professional emergency manager, that's rarely seen in institutions of higher education nationwide, specifically our size. So we're very pleased to have him here. Before I do get started, I think I need to acknowledge some things here. First off, that we know that there are people that are hurt, they're angry, they're fearful, and quite often they distrust police. And I acknowledge that policing in America has historically not always benefited those marginalized people, but understand this. Grand Valley State Department of Public Safety is your police department. We are here to serve and to respond to the needs of the community. It's our mission to provide a safe and secure environment which our students live, work, and learn, but we also collaborate with our community to identify and provide safety-related needs. I'd like to start off specifically with the women and men that do work for the department, your Department of Public Safety, which also includes police, security, dispatch, our administrative staff, and students who work as cadets and in our dispatch area. The department's been accredited through the Commission for Accreditation for Law Enforcement Standards, CALEA, and we're very pleased that we were able to meet that qualifier this past fall. All of the police officers that work on the Allendale campus and Grand Rapids campus are uniformed and armed police officers. They work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in Allendale. And during the academic day, we've got police officers at our Grand Rapids campuses. We've got security officers that work overnight and weekend in Grand Rapids. Now, your police officers are all sworn licensed officers within the state of Michigan. All of them have attended police academies. And for the most part, most of them are Lakers for a lifetime. They've got 4-year degrees and many with graduate degrees. Our hiring and training standards are of the utmost. We are looking for people that really identify with the mission, vision, values of this department as well as the university. It's the reason why we hire so many Lakers to work here. When we talk about training, those officers receive over 60 hours of training per year. Part of that training revolves around the response to active shooter. When we talk about the response to active shooter, that training, we do so with our partner, the Ottawa County Sheriff's Office. We've been doing that for over a decade. We are a leader in West Michigan in relationship to training of active shooter. And we have recently, within the past several years, began training with Rescue Task Force. Rescue Task Force we do with fire departments and emergency medical services. No one in West Michigan has such a robust training plan. And for that Rescue Task Force, our officers are working diligently with fire and emergency services to remove injured people from critical incidents. While law enforcement is tasked to go into structures, if there's violent or critical incidents taking place, those officers will go towards the sight, the sound, and the smell of that violence, and they will put an end to that as quickly as possible. Our rescue task force is where police work with fire to remove those that are injured. But we have seen time and time again, if there is a critical incident where an active shooter is involved, people end up getting shot, they bleed out. And our intent is to remove them as quickly as possible to help save lives. Stopping the bleed is so important. Another area within the Department of Public Safety is our comprehensive campus dispatch area. Our dispatch services are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365. And those dispatchers, they receive incoming phone calls on nights and weekends for the entire university when our main number is closed. Those dispatchers also send out emergency messages via the GVSU alert emergency notification system for any critical incident. And they'll send that so community members that have text and voicemail and email is once that incident is verified, you will receive that information. It's the intent for us to communicate updates to any emergency situation every 15 to 30 minutes. We'll be working with our partners from University Communications to ensure we're doing that. On the screen before you, you are seeing a number of monitors, and those monitors really are identifying the over 1,600 security cameras that we have on our campuses. We have a number of these cameras, and while we are unable to monitor every single one of them, we do monitor a few. However, what's important is this: we use the software in the analytics, the analytics in the software to help dispatchers locate those that may have engaged in any bad behavior. If we do find any criminal or bad behavior that takes place, then police can follow through on this. We're not, again, actively monitoring those cameras, but forensically reviewing them, and we're able to share that information. Currently, current views of those cameras are with Ottawa County Central 911, as well as the Grand Rapids Police Department. We can identify still, we can get information out to those that need to have that information. We do have a policy, and I would encourage you, if you're so interested, it's a very robust policy around our security camera system. It's a senior leadership policy, and it's online available at the senior leadership policy area. Also, our dispatchers dispatch police and security at both our Allendale and our Grand Rapids campuses. And our public safety and local first responders, we utilize interoperable communications. And that's kind of a fancy word for saying that we end up talking the same, we use the same frequency and the same jargon with our colleagues in 2 separate counties. While we've got a campus in Allendale, which is in Ottawa County, we also work with Grand Rapids Police and other first responders there. So it's important that we're utilizing the same information frequencies, and so we can have a discussion with one another. Also, campus dispatch operates and monitors all of our access control on the campuses as well. Our staff open and close doors as necessary. And as you can see on the slide, there's 4 buttons. We'll talk a little bit more about that as well. But those buttons have the opportunity to be able to lock down all of our campuses in a quick order. With this said, all the exterior doors are able to be secured, specifically in areas that, in buildings around our campuses. Our dispatchers also monitor all of our fire alarms. They monitor weather for our outdoor events, as well as outdoor warning system. Now, I'm going to ask Sergeant O'Donnell to give a little bit of a briefing and understanding of what our physical security opportunities and technical solutions are. Bill, if you'd be so kind.
Thanks. Good afternoon, everyone. Just to cover some of the things, technology upgrades and different safety and security measures and enhancements that we've done. This first one was 2015. We did this in conjunction with FFPAC. That's a faculty advisory group that we partnered with to build this campaign kind of thing of, do you know what to do? Do you know what to do during that first couple minutes of an emergency? So it built out an emergency website for us. We started finding different ways, not necessarily from a hazardous materials team type of a response, but what should you do if a chemical leak or a fire or a severe weather type of incident happens? So we actually moved on and incorporated a little, we call them the procedures manual that sits in every department across campus. Again, just what you can do in those first couple of minutes. That campaign was crucial for us in mapping out a way for our Laker community to immediately respond. And I feel that was 2015 was the time we really kickstarted our preparedness efforts. The next one, I'll click on the screen here. Next one is our classroom emergency placard. Right out of that, that emergency procedures manual, we built this placard that sits above the light switch in every single classroom on campus, in every larger conference room. That thing has some great information on it, and it's just standardized that it has the same appearance in every classroom, so it looks the same way, except the information is specific to that particular classroom. For example, on the bottom there, we have 82 buildings on the Ellendale campus, and every single one of them have their own address. So a lot of us know One Campus Drive, but we might not know Mackinac Hall is 10880. So that was important for our first responders, our EMS, our ambulance companies, and that kind of thing to know exactly where they were going. In the upper part of that procedures placard is our severe weather shelter locations. You can see right there in the bottom that it'll tell you where to go if severe weather is imminent or that type of thing. In the red medical area, it'll also tell you where those AEDs or those life-saving devices are located in that building. In 2017, this was critical for us. In the middle of the screen there, you see a thumb turn lock. It just takes a quarter turn on that lock to lock that door. We installed in 2017 a lock on every single classroom. We don't want you to wait for us to push the lockdown buttons or feel like your safety is in jeopardy. You immediately lock that door. We wanted that in the hands of our students and our faculty. They can lock that door without our office even having multiple 911 calls coming in. Chief already mentioned there on the right side, that's what's in our dispatch center right now, our lockdown system. That was 2019 we installed that. So at the touch of a button, a dispatcher can walk over, hit that button, and those doors immediately lock. We want you to do the classrooms. You feel safety or jeopardy is in trouble, get those classrooms locked. We don't run out to the exterior doors. We'll take care of that for you. And on the left side of the screen, this was after Uvalde. It's unique that MSU happened. The contractors were just on campus installing some of these window decals so that our first responders, those firefighters and ambulance personnel can see exactly, hey, that injury's inside door number 5. I'll meet you there. This was a significant part of our risk reduction strategies there in 2017, 2019. The AEDs, we've had AEDs since 2002 at Grand Valley, but we didn't have as robust a system. So in 2018, we did a strategic look at where's our risk really? How can we put these strategically throughout campus? And in 2018, we added, so there's now 58 of the AEDs across campus. The very next year, we added bleeding control kits. They're just a little blue bag that sits in the bottom. There's 2 of them. This is a critical incident type of a situation. We don't want, these aren't just daily use a Band-Aid out of these things. These have tourniquets, chest seals, packing wound, the stuff that you'd use for the significant injuries. And everyone knows Stop the Bleed. That's that life-saving idea that the bleeding control kits are how we can stop people from dying from these incidents by having these things immediately in the hands of everybody. Our campus rec and wellness, they're happy to come to your department and do AED training and bring it right to your conference room if you need that. This next one was 2020. We're talking about floor plans, getting these floor plans in the hands of our first responder partners. On the right-hand side of the screen there, that is what you will see on any of the Allendale firefighters. Their personal phones have our floor plans on them. They just get on into their call. They can hit a button on the address and up pops our floor plans. Right in their hands, they can see where the roof access is, where the gas shutoffs are, what hazards exist, and where they're located within that building. That too is a critical addition to our response plan. On the left side is the in-car cameras as well, or in-car computers, I should say. Our first responder partners with the sheriff's office or Holland Police or Grand Haven or Zeeland Police departments that might come to help us. They will know by clicking again on the address, they can see exactly where they're going and have our floor plans there right at their fingertips. GVSU Alert, this is our big one. This is our bread and butter, if you will. The multiple methods that we can deploy emergency notification. It's not always that we do all of the systems of GVSU Alert. For example, today with our remote operations, you just received a text and just an email. We didn't deploy all the other ones that I'll talk about here shortly. We did do, some of you remember in the annual test recently in November. It's funny when we do our annual test because everybody's sitting in class and everybody's phones freak out and go weird. And hey, everybody gets a message at the exact same time. It's kind of unique to see that happen. Secondary to our GVSU Alert is our emergency webpage. It's /emergency off the main website. Right now, if you go to this page, it just has a green box there. It just says there's no alerts. You know, we're operating normally. This is the best information for updated critical information that's coming out of any emergency, whether it's public warning information or emergency information that we need you to have. As soon as my dispatcher types in a GVSU Alert, they hit the send button. This page automatically updates. That box will turn red and depict exactly the messaging that we need you to have, that same messaging that's going out to our students. If we have a second or a third or a fourth update, they also populate in time date on this page. So if we expand a perimeter and a gas leak or something to that effect, you will see multiple messages and how the response is going right on that emergency webpage. Parents, feel free to always visit this page. You will get, that page will update the same exact time your son or daughter is getting their information. The web crawl, if you go today right now, you'll see our remote status operational web crawl. This is just a way to let people that are visiting the website know there's some type of information we need you to have. So every single page on our website gets that web crawl. That again is critical for us in that response planning. This we call desktop override. Any university computer. So for example, faculty, if you're teaching PowerPoint and we send an alert, as soon as that dispatcher hits that button, we're going to take over your PowerPoint and your screen, and it's going to depict our alert. As soon as you hit that acknowledge button there on the bottom, your computer will come back to normal. Any of our kiosks on campus will also do that. The next one that we did in 2014, we found a little gap in our protection. If you remember, the tornado wire or siren in Allendale was down at the fire department. Could barely hear it here from campus. So that was one thing we wanted to get together and find a solution to that. We didn't just put one siren in. We had Federal Signal come in with a local company and show us how we can deploy a voice, a recorded message, or make it sound like a tornado siren. So right in my dispatch center, when the GVSU Alert full emergency notification goes out, that dispatcher can effectively pick up a public address system and talk across the Allendale campus through these siren systems. Those are tested every month during the academic year, mostly during the severe weather season. Our next big one is Laker Guardian. This is an application that you can have on your phone, downloadable in the Google Play or the App Store. I'll pull mine up here a second just to run through this. Again, there's some links on our website if you need help on this, but this is one of the best ways to improve your personal safety on campus. Just having this on your phone lets us virtually walk you to your door at any time of the day and night. So the top two there, the one-click panic button, the safety timer. So let's say, for example, I'll set my safety timer here. I am walking from my voice lessons at the Haas Performing Arts Center to my 2023 Tesla Laker Blue. It'll take me 8 minutes. I click that timer and I hit that button. Now in my dispatch center, it knows somebody's actively using the Laker Guardian app. Doesn't give us your personal information, doesn't tell us anything about you, unless for any reason you don't make it to your car, you hit your panic button or your timer deploys. Now my dispatcher is instantly going to see where you're at by GPS, and it gives us all your information on the other side of the screen. So you can put anything in Laker Guardian, where you visit, where you attend class, what kind of car you drive, medications, or any of that stuff. You put your own profile information that we will never see it unless that deployment occurs for us. The bottom there is the emergency context. So if I hit that, it's somewhat of a call directory. It just has all our emergency numbers in there, non-emergency. If you need to contact the best emergency manager in the nation, Billy O'Donnell's right there. I could click on him and I have all that information right at your fingertips. All those emergency numbers that we need you to have in front of you. The next couple ones are the text to GVPD, very popular for our students. If I can text on an inbox, that goes directly to our dispatch center. So you can hit text with GVPD. There's a couple different things in here. You'll see, hey, I want to report a disturbance or something suspicious, or there's one that just says connect me right away. You click that, type a little message, you're talking right to my dispatch center, and those dispatchers can get a hold of you and let you know that an officer is en route. On the top of that, if you want, there's a little button where you can remain anonymous. So that helps us as well to get those additional tips. And the chief will talk about that a little later. The next one there is receiving that GVSU alert. If you have Laker Guardian on your phone, that's another way for the GVSU alert system to deploy to you. You'll get the text, all the other options will deploy, as well as your Laker Guardian will deploy. And then on the documents, if you call that up, there's some important information on that app. Laker Guardian has, let's say, for example, there's a tornado. I'm in Ensemble Hall. I just swipe right there. I've got all my shelter locations where I should be. Room 112, 114, 116. They're all listed right there where I can get immediately for a tornado warning. We do have some active shooter information there. You click on that. Hey, I'm in hiding. I'm nervous right now. What do I do? Just read that right there. Just, hey, stay out of sight. Turn the lights off. Silence your cell phones. Close the blinds. Get behind barricades. Barricade. Lock that door. That kind of stuff. It's all right at your fingertips there. Those are those important documents. Folks, this is a blue light phone in your back pocket is how we like to say it. That is one-click stuff, and you have instant access to a number of emergency resources. If you need any help by any means, I'll come safety walk you through how to put that on your phone and walk you through that. But let me turn it back over to Chief now. He's going to cover some of our planning, our preparedness, and prevention steps. Chief, I'll stop sharing here for you.
Thank you, Bill. I'll tell you, we're very pleased that Bill's our professional emergency manager here. As you can see, the information he's presented, we do have a very robust physical security and tech solutions in place. I think it's also important here too to recognize the Laker Guardian app. I encourage everyone, whether you're a faculty, staff, or student, to download that. We've been trying to market that solution. We think it's an excellent solution for all members of our community. As we continue to move on here, our incident management team, I apologize, we have a comprehensive emergency management plan, and that plan is available online. And I would encourage everyone to take a look at that plan. That plan offers a lot of information as far as what we do and how we do it. It actually offers structure to what we do with emergency management here on the campus. We also have an incident management team. That's a group of operational response staff for critical incidents here on the campus, including folks from facilities, Allendale and Grand Rapids, our Dean of Students, Housing, University Communications, and the Police Department. And we're responsible for any response to critical incidents. Now, this group is part of an overall incident command system, or ICS structure, and that's actually an excellent structure that we utilize for leadership during any critical incident. It really is the best way to respond to any large-scale incident. Another group that we have here on the campus, our Emergency Management Advisory Committee, or GDEMAC, and that's made up of people from 14 departments across the campus. Now, they meet quarterly, and what they're looking at are best practices, lessons learned. We're looking at all the hazards from any incident that occurs in universities, and that particular group will make recommendations. We also have department emergency coordinators. Now, there are 202 DECs around the campus. This is a group of staff that truly have a passion for preparedness around their offices and departments. And it's really a great way to distribute emergency information. Bill O'Donnell, he leads all of those groups, or I apologize, the EMAC and the DEC, he's leading those groups. And quite frankly, I am so pleased that people are willing to volunteer their time and effort to ensure that we are doing things as safe as possible here on the campus. And again, we collaborate with a wide group of people on the campus to obtain input for those security measures. On the planning side, we look at different options that are out there, including emergency operations centers. And we do have emergency operations centers on both campuses, not dedicated space, but they can be easily opened and ramped up in the event there's a critical incident. We have a wide breadth and depth of community members who will respond to these incidents, and they've been very helpful when we've had to move forward with any critical component. Emergency action guidelines, or EAGs, are for critical events that we could experience on the campus. We have 14 separate topic areas that contain these guidelines for our responders and for our incident management team to ensure that we're asking all the right questions and covering all the right bases during any incident. We did use, during the pandemic on the outset, the outbreak and pandemic EAG, and it was very helpful as we were moving forward with that particular situation. Annually, we're doing what's called a tabletop drill, and that tabletop drill is where we get members from the university and we test them in a controlled environment about a critical incident to evaluate our response to those incidents. And again, very important that we spend the time and the effort to do that. We're very pleased with our tabletop. We've got one coming up again in May. Not only is it a requirement for federal guidelines, but it's also the right thing to do to ensure that we're prepared to move forward. When we talk about moving forward, prevention is perhaps one of the most important and critical aspects in relationship to any critical incident response. The Secret Service runs National Assessment Center, and they're responsible for tracking incidents and active shooters and mass attacks nationally. And I review every single one of their reports when they come out, and their reports really revolve around one specific area. If there is an area to be able to prevent these, it revolves around sharing information. Keep this in mind. Security measures can be defeated given enough time and determination. And some of these actors do put that much time and determination into it. We know that there's often extensive planning by those that engage in these attacks. And we also know that many of these actors are leaking information on that pathway to violence. And I think that's what's so important is as they're leaking that information needs to be shared with those that are in positions of authority. There's no one solution that is going to solve this issue, folks. I wish there was, but there truly is not. We need community support. When we're talking about that support, public safety is reviewing the intake of all kinds of information and intelligence that comes into the department. Care reports. You have no idea how important they are and what we get from care reports, the information that is there. Calls from the community, calls to our department, calls to 911. Campus Security Authority reports, anonymous reports, either to the university and or Silent Observer, text messages, email, and we are reviewing social media on a regular basis as well. We are reviewing and sharing police reports with our colleagues in other local police departments and around the state. We're reviewing all the bulletins and other information from local, state, and federal agencies, and we're in constant communication with these organizations to ensure that we're getting quality and timely information. Now, based on that information, often what we're doing here, our care team, which runs out of our dean of students, they're following up on lower threats to either individuals specifically. And for the most part, the care team is able to attend to those. If there are any threats to the university and or a higher threat to any given individual, our behavioral threat assessment team will be activated. This team responds to those very high level threats against community members and the university is made up of police, human resources, and various student affairs partners to effectively respond to any of these emergent threats. We'll bring in other members of the university for responses necessary. But what we do know is that we have been spending some time and effort training up members of our university, specifically in student affairs, and our human resource professionals have been trained in threat assessment. We're utilizing instruments to assess those levels of threat. And police and human resources received additional training, specifically around workplace violence and threat assessment. We know it's so important that we share that information, and I would encourage you as members of the community to continue to share information with our department. Education, we know how important that is to our community as well. And we are in the business to educate people. Our department has a multitude of different educational materials that are out there. If you have not been to our emergency homepage, I would encourage you to do so. There is a link, I believe, in the president's email that was sent to everyone. It is one-stop shopping for emergency response on the university. What's interesting is not only do we have that information, we also have do you know what to do? And Bill showed, I believe, a slide of that earlier. And that's really in response to various incidents, including active shooter. We do have some paper versions that are available, but a lot of that, again, is available online. We have active shooter video that was put together, and it was utilized using members of our community and filmed on the campus. We did that prior to the pandemic. We have released it, and while it's really identified for students, we also believe that it can be beneficial for all members of our community. Currently, we're in pre-production of a video specifically for faculty. I think that's important as well. We have heard from faculty they wish to have some information specifically on responsibilities and for them. So we are working on that particular video, and we hope to have that done prior to the fall semester. We also have various training seminars for departments and students. If you wish, Bill O'Donnell can come on out and do a training or educational seminar for any department or student groups. He is available for that. He's been a little busy. We've had a lot of outreach, needless to say, over the past several weeks. But if you can get on his calendar, I'm sure he'll be more than willing to do so. Also keep in mind our community officers that are assigned specifically to housing. They work specifically with our freshman students, and they put on a lot of safety education opportunities for our freshman students as well. In closing, we wait for the final report from Michigan State University to really look at our own policies and procedures. Now, our police leadership team reviews every critical incident involving active shooters around the nation. What we really do is we attempt to identify and glean those best practices to implement what lessons there are to learn, and so we can implement those with our community. Again, I think it's important that we do wait so we have a better understanding of everything that took place at Michigan State University, and that we are able to then implement those moving forward. And I truly hope that this has been helpful. And again, encourage you as Lakers to review those educational materials, download the app, the Laker Guardian app, and ask for everyone to be safe. Thank you, President Mantella, for providing this opportunity. We truly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Billy, for such a wonderful job and taking us through our infrastructure, our prevention, our resources. It really is so reassuring to all of us, I am sure. So you're getting lots of virtual hugs and virtual claps from our community. We're so appreciative of you and your leadership over so many years. You heard Billy refer to when many of these things were launched and how every year there is an evaluation of what more we can do. We take safety as our absolute #1 priority. I would like to reinforce 3 things that the chief and the sergeant said to you today. First is take it upon yourself to review the information, download the app, encourage others to do it. We want our community equipped to respond. Second, we'd like to be sure that in that mode of prevention, you're following the advice of if you see something, say something. That helps us immensely to take a look at what might be out there that is moving into our ecosystem. And lastly, one of the things that as we were prepping for this session, waiting for you all to come online, that Chief DeHaan said is they are happy to be in the background, assuring that we're safe. And I want to remind each of us to show gratitude, because it's easy to take safety for granted until an incident occurs. So please take a moment to say thank you as you see our police officers, our public safety officers going about their work quietly to be sure we can live and learn and focus on what we're here to do. I promise you, as your president, I will do everything possible to keep our community safe. Any of you that have advice, please feel free to email president@gvsu.edu. I did make a commitment that we're going to increase communication around our safety and our safety protocols as we go forward. So if there are areas that you'd like to see us go deeper, please advise us, and I'll be sure to read each of those. So thank you so much for your attention today, being with us, and be safe.